Change breeds opportunity. And I think we all have to admit we're in the midst of a major change. And as a result, there will be some major opportunities. The virus has changed us in the respect that we're at war. As I was growing up as a young boy, I always felt that, and was told, the next war is going to be an atomic war or a biochemical war. I always thought biochemical meant that someone would develop something and spray it over our country and it'd kill us all. Well, that's kind of what happened. But I don't believe it was purposely done. I believe it was an accident. How that accident occurred, I don't know. But what I do know is this is going to make a major change in not only how the United States functions, but how the world functions. We just can't put ourselves in this position again. We can see the effects of this, that our economy and the world economies have basically shut down. And there's some question as to how long and can we go on just printing money to keep people alive. It is shocking the amount of people that show up without food, and we haven't been into this full boat for much over a month. The world people, for the most part, just don't have enough rainy day funds to take care of themselves. And this is shocking. And we have learned now how susceptible we are to a total collapse from a healthcare point of view, from a virus, from some sort of poison, from whatever. So I believe that this opens the door for the next big thing. So what do I mean by the next big thing? Well, in my investment days, the first big thing was the internet. And I can remember saying, I'll never have a computer and sit down in front of a desk and do that sort of thing. Well, guess what? It became the next big thing, and it became a part of my life. The next big thing that I recall was this, my cell phone. I guess I got my first cell phone somewhere in somewhere around 2005. And I reluctantly got it, but it has now become something that I constantly carry. I constantly use. It keeps me in touch in my business, in my social life. It became a big thing. From there, that was roughly around 2000. If we then go 10 years forward, the next big thing became 4G, where this now expanded its capabilities to give me the ability to do YouTube, to watch videos, to text and communicate at a higher level. And out of that, we have the birth of the big nine. The 9 companies that basically grabbed 4G and made the most out of it. 6 of them here in the United States and 3 in China. So now I believe the next big thing was scheduled to be 5G. And we would have the Internet of Everything. And that Internet of Everything would open new opportunities for us. I believe the people who were going to lead us to that was, again, the big 9. But something changed. And it changed somewhere in the early part that we're aware of March. And it's called the Corona-19 virus. And as a result of that, fear went over the country. Fear went over the world. And the world economies shut down. And now we see the food lines. And now we see people screaming, "You've got to let me go back to work. I need my job." Totally putting their well-being of work and income over the lives of other people. Because they don't believe it's going to affect them. But the fact is, it will. put it into perspective. I remember when automobile accidents accounted for somewhere in the neighborhood of 65,000 per year in the United States. I remember that number because I also remember that 55,000 young people died in Vietnam, Americans. We don't know how many Vietnamese. So, but I also now know that the number of automobile deaths has become below those Vietnam deaths because of seat belts. A big change. I also now know that we're approaching that 55,000 deaths that occurred over roughly I believe it was an 8-year period in Vietnam. But we're about to hit the 55,000 deaths here in the United States in less than 2 months. So this can't happen again. And the next big thing is going to be what I talked about in the video I put out this morning. And that is a collaboration between Google and Apple to create a tracking device which we will voluntarily take part of, and that when we go into a store, I went to Lowe's this Saturday. I was extremely uncomfortable. I was wearing my mask, but I was probably one of 20% of the people in the store that were wearing a mask. I was making sure that I pushed my basket around people to make sure I stayed 6 feet away. I was one of probably 50% who were doing that. My mind, and maybe it's because of my age, and maybe it's because of my experience, and maybe it's because of all the things that I've experienced in life, is I can't allow myself to be exposed to this. So if Google and Apple will give me a way that I can voluntarily enter in, and Bluetooth will tell me if I was in the vicinity of someone who had the virus or subsequently was diagnosed with the virus, I would be notified so that I could take protective action. I will be a part of this. I think that probably 60% of the population will be a part of this. That will be the introduction. That will be the introduction and to the adapting the new technology. In all new technology, there are the early adapters there, and then it takes time to bring the herd in. But I think this will be an early adaptation. I'll be a part of it, and then I'll ask for more. I'll ask for a smart toilet so that every day I'm having a test of my body. Rather than right now, I go and have lab work done on my blood and my urine every 6 months. Before I turned 65, I never did that. I never went, and I didn't have a doctor. My wife had a doctor, but I didn't have a doctor. Today, I want lab work done every day. That is my objective. That is what I wish for. That's what I want the next big thing to be. That when I get up in the morning and when I pee and when I poop, they're both analyzed. When I go over and take my electric toothbrush out and I brush it, I'm swabbing my mouth. And the bristles with 5G are analyzing the saliva in my mouth and sending it into the cloud, along with my smart toilet data. I want to get on the scale, and the scale weighs me and sees if there's any variation, and that's sent into the cloud so that it can come back to me. What I call my dock in the sky comes back and tells me that you're okay and you don't need to proceed and do anything. But on the other hand, when I have a urinary tract infection, it tells me. When I have a swollen prostate, it tells me. When I have blood in my urine, it tells me. and I then can act accordingly. I don't have to wait 6 months to have a lab test. I believe that's where we're going. And I believe that's the next big thing. So I own Google. I own Apple. I'm trying to buy Amazon. I'm trying to buy IBM and Microsoft. These are the people who are going to make my life better, who are going to extend the years of my life. And it's going to be the next big thing. And as a combination of 5G and the coronavirus, my life is going to change. And it's all going to be driven by this device here. Eventually, this device will be replaced. I don't know if it'll be a ring or it'll be a watch or whatever. But the next big thing is medical care. And it's all going to change. And that's going to then have ramifications on health care insurance. Because again, we're not just taking care of disease, and we're not just taking care of viruses, and we're not working just on vaccines. We're working on spotting the problem before it occurs. I read an article about a city outside of Amsterdam that regularly tests its sewage. And they found that there was coronavirus in their sewage 30 days before the virus was recognized in their city. Think about that. Think about how that could change our world. That we knew that the coronavirus was in Wuhan, China in November, and then we just shut down Wuhan, China and didn't allow it out. Think about that. If we know the next virus is in Topeka, Kansas, by analyzing the sewage, by analyzing my stool in my toilet, and we identify it before it spreads, we can shut all this down. We can make sure this never happens again. Watch the video that I did on Apple and Google coming together. Watch the video I did on the smart toilet and how it's going to change our lives. Watch those videos. You're going to find a link to them at the end of this video. Smart investors don't look for the rocketing penny stock. Smart investors analyze good companies that have a strong balance sheet that recognize what's going to happen in the future. I saw an interview with the CEO of Microsoft, and he basically said, we're in a unique position. We have a lot of money, and we have the ability to think about what is needed in the future. And he says what is needed in the future is alternative energy, good water, a smaller carbon footprint. And that's what we're investing our money in. Now, is that 5 years off? No, it's probably 10 years off. But this is a company who's not thinking about selling gasoline or selling clothing or flying airplanes. This is a company who's thinking about making the world a better, a safer, a better place. They're thinking about the next big thing, and that's who I want to be part owner of. The companies who are thinking about the next big